Yo, what's up guys, Mega and I'm back bringing another Pokemon VGC 15 Wi-Fi back for you guys today. Once again using the same team, the Mega Metagross Rain Team, but as you can tell by the team preview, I actually don't decide to bring my Mega in this game. And look at my opponent's team, he's running a pretty standard set of Pokemon, and then there's a Lipod there which isn't as common but is still definitely a problem. And he also has a Mega Charizard which I'm presuming to be Y to counter my weather. So nonetheless, let's just get straight on into this battle. So I'm actually going to decide to lead off with my Politoed and my Ludicolo, which is a pretty standard lead for this Rain team, and particularly any Rain team in general, to be honest. So he actually decides to lead off with his Charizard and his Lipod. So right off the bat, what I'm actually going to decide to do is just straight up fake out the Charizard, and I believe I'm actually going to target down the Lipod with... No, I believe I'm actually going to decide to double target the Charizard here, aggressively double target it to try and get rid of his sun, his drought, and win the weather war. So that's exactly what I'm going to do is, like I did mention, just fake out the Zard. As of course his Lipod has his own fake out shenanigans of its own. And that is just in fact going to fake out my Ludicolo, sorry not my Ludicolo, my Politoed. So we're both going to exchange fake outs turn 1. And now what we're going to decide to do is he's actually going to decide to go for fake tears, reducing the special defense of my Politoed, and then go for the Heat Wave I do believe. As I'm actually going to decide to go for the Hydro Pump, revealing I'm faster than his Charizard, revealing I am in fact Scarf. And even under the sun, I still do a decent chunk to this Megazord Y, which is great, as I do need to aggressively target down that thing, like I did mention. And I do go for the Ice Beam, as I believe an Ice Beam will do more than a Scald under the sun. And I don't quite do nowhere near enough to pick it off. However, it is in the range where a secondary Hydro Pump will kill, as long as I do land it. So what I'm actually going to decide to do is pull back Ludicolo, switching out and go out into my Sylveon, and actually just go straight for the Hydro Pump onto the Conkeldurr. It actually goes for the Encore onto my Ludicolo slot, which is well, I can't. I suppose it was decent. It would lock me into the Ice Beam, but nonetheless, I do actually miss the incoming Conkeldurr with a Hydro Pump. So what I'm actually going to decide to now is actually go out into my Landorus, get off the Intimidate on that Conk, and actually decide to click unlock myself into Hyper Voice. Is actually going to pull a Switch-On out into his Heatran, which is fine considering I did just Switch-On in my Landorus, and his Heatran was definitely his most optimal play at this point if he was running it. So it definitely means my Landorus switch was the right switch to make here, as I can continue to force a whole lot of offensive pressure onto my opponent, as I do just bring his Lipod down to its sash, and his Heatran does in fact reveal the lefties here. So what I'm actually going to decide to do is he's actually going to decide to switch on out his Lipod at this point, and actually decide to go on out into his Charizard, as I'm actually going to decide to switch Sylveon, not wanting to be locked into Hyper Voice versus his Heatran. And the reason why I decided to lock into my switching out into my Ludicolo is because I did decide to go for the Earthquake, trying to pick up the 2 KOs onto his Lipod and potentially onto his Heatran as well. But as you can see, it was a very obvious play and he reads that perfectly well. So a little bit of an inexperienced play. I'd like to feel that wasn't the greatest play by me. And I'm basically just going to do damage to my Ludicolo, which is never great. So what I'm actually going to decide to do here though, is decide to go straight for the fake out onto the Heatran slot. And actually decide to just go straight for the Rock Slide, just to pick up the KO onto his Megazord Y. Therefore, winning the Weather War. But he's actually going to decide to go out into his Lipod as Death Pod at this point, which is fine, because I do manage to pick up that KO. And actually decides to go straight for the Heat Wave. Unfortunately, it does miss my my Landorus. However, it wouldn't have been enough to knock me out regardless. And I am just going to be able to land that Rock Slide, which is great, and pick off his Zard. So I do manage to pick up 2 KOs that turn, which was great. Bring him down to his last 2, his Heatran and his Conkeldurr. So that's exactly what he's going to be forced to switch on into now. His Heatran and his Conk, as I believe I'm actually going to decide to switch on out into my Sylveon, because I do need to get damage off on this Conkeldurr, as I do have a Politoed in the back, and of course my Landorus out on the field right now to easily beat his Heatran. So what I'm actually going to decide to do is go for Protect and just go straight for the Hyper Voice, as my opponent makes a nice read and goes straight for the Substitute here. Very nice play, and I'm going to be able to fire off a Hyper Voice, doing a solid 90% to his Conkeldurr, as I have managed to protect myself from the obvious Ice Punch there. So that works out perfectly well for me, apart from he doesn't manage to set up a Protect. So here he's just going to go for that last ditch Mach Punch, just to get as much chip damage off on my Landorus before he does go down to a secondary Hyper Voice. As I actually decided to go for the Rock Slide here, and I actually pick up a crit onto the Conkeldurr, which will manage to take it out, which is great for me. and I just go straight for the Hyper Voice, which I actually don't believe is going to be enough to take out his Heatran regardless. Sorry, to take out the sub from his Heatran regardless. So he goes for the Heat Wave, does a decent chunk of damage regardless. So potentially, if he had not missed the Heat Wave coming from his RY, it could have potentially taken me out. I'm not quite sure on his spread, but nonetheless, I do still have my Politoed in the back. But here, what I'm actually going to decide to do is decide to go for a Protect with my Landorus and actually switching out into my Politoed here, just to get out the rain, just to ensure his Heat Waves are going to do even less. And as you can see, actually, my opponent is actually going to go for a Protect of his own after my own Landorus Protect, which is going to be as ideal of a turn as I could have got here, as I do manage to waste his Protect. And I'm a Scarf Polito like we have established, and I can either just go straight for that Scald, break his Substitute, and then take him out with a Superpower. So that is exactly what I'm going to proceed to do, and that should win me the game, as I do manage to break his sub easily, of course. And it comes down to whether Superpower can kill, which I am highly confident it can. Easily be able to knock out the Heatran from that range. So I do manage to pick up the 3-0 victory. So a pretty decent game. His Heatran was definitely his win condition. Him going for that sub definitely gave him a window of opportunity to win. Had he not missed the Heat Wave onto my Landorus, it could have potentially come down close, as I still believe my Polito would have been able to win me the game, as I'm pretty sure, unless he aggressively targeted that thing down with an Earth Power or something, then it could have potentially won. So nonetheless, it's still a very fun game. I hope you guys did enjoy. I know I did. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and of course subscribe for more. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.